The whispering shadows of Bankstown. Sarah Miller tightened her grip on the steering wheel as she drove through the dense fog enveloping the narrow, winding road. Her editor at American Treasures magazine had sent her to Bankstown to cover a story on the most charming small towns in America. From the descriptions and photos she'd seen, Bankstown seemed like a postcard-perfect village. Yet, as the fog swallowed her car, an unshakable sense of dread settled in her stomach. The town revealed itself slowly, emerging from the mist like a phantom. Quaint cottages with flower-filled gardens lined cobblestone streets, and a majestic clock tower dominated the town square. Despite its charm, Bankstown felt eerily quiet, as if time had paused just for her arrival. Sarah parked her car in front of the Bankstown Inn, a cozy bed and breakfast run by the amiable Mrs. Thompson. The elderly woman greeted her with a warm smile that never quite reached her eyes. As Mrs. Thompson showed her to her room, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Over the next few days, Sarah explored the town, interviewing residents and taking photographs. She noted the meticulously maintained gardens, the pristine streets, and the friendly yet oddly distant townsfolk. Everyone she spoke to extolled the town's virtues but grew visibly uncomfortable when she asked about its history, especially the Hollow, a dense forest on the outskirts. One evening, Sarah sat in the local cafe, reviewing her notes. A conversation between two elderly men at a nearby table caught her attention. They whispered about the upcoming festival and the tradition. When they noticed her listening, they abruptly stopped talking and left. Intrigued, Sarah decided to extend her stay and delve deeper into the town's secrets. The annual Bankstown Festival was a grand affair, with music, food, and games filling the town square. The townsfolk seemed genuinely happy, yet an undercurrent of tension persisted. Their forced laughter and furtive glances hinted at something sinister lurking beneath the surface. That night, Sarah was awakened by the sound of soft chanting. She peered out her window and saw a procession of townsfolk carrying lanterns heading toward the hollow. Her heart raced as she grabbed her camera and followed them into the woods, determined to uncover the truth. The procession led her to an old, decrepit church hidden deep within the hollow. The townsfolk gathered around a stone altar, their faces illuminated by flickering lantern light. The mayor, standing at the front, held an ancient book and chanted in a language Sarah didn't recognize. Her breath caught in her throat as a bound and gagged figure was brought forward. The chanting grew louder, the air thick with anticipation. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and a dark, shapeless entity emerged from the shadows. The temperature plummeted, and Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. The figure on the altar was sacrificed, and the entity absorbed their life force before retreating back into the darkness. The townsfolk dispersed silently, leaving Sarah paralyzed with shock. She knew she had to uncover the full story and expose it to the world. The next morning, Sarah confronted Mrs. Thompson, demanding an explanation. With a resigned sigh, the elderly woman revealed the town's dark secret. Generations ago, the founders of Bankstown had made a pact with a malevolent spirit known as the Shadow Keeper. In exchange for prosperity and protection, the town had to offer a sacrifice every 10 years. Anyone who tried to leave met a gruesome fate, their bodies found mutilated in the hollow. Determined to break the cycle, Sarah delved into the town's archives. She discovered that the book used in the ritual contained a counter-ritual, one that could banish the Shadow Keeper forever. But it required a willing sacrifice from outside the town, someone who had uncovered the truth. Armed with this knowledge, Sarah planned to perform the counter-ritual. She gathered the necessary items and made her way to the hollow as night fell. The townsfolk, sensing her intentions, tried to stop her, but Sarah's determination was unyielding. At the old church, Sarah began the counter-ritual, chanting the ancient words from the book. The ground shook violently as the Shadow Keeper emerged, its form more terrifying than before. The townsfolk watched in a mixture of hope and fear, realizing that their salvation depended on this outsider. As the ritual reached its climax, Sarah felt a searing pain as the entity lashed out at her. But she continued, her voice unwavering. With a final, agonizing cry, she completed the ritual. The Shadow Keeper let out a deafening roar before disintegrating into nothingness. The next morning, the town of Bankstown was transformed. The oppressive atmosphere had lifted, and the townsfolk seemed genuinely happy for the first time. They honored Sarah's bravery, knowing that her sacrifice had freed them from their dark past. Sarah's story became legend, a tale of courage and resilience that was passed down through generations. The town flourished, no longer bound by the sinister pact that had once overshadowed its beauty. And in the heart of the hollow, the old church stood as a silent testament to the journalist who had uncovered Bankstown's secret and paid the ultimate price to save it. Days turned into weeks, and Bankstown basked in its newfound freedom. The oppressive gloom that once hung over the town had dissipated, replaced by a sense of genuine peace and happiness. The festival, now a symbol of liberation, was celebrated with real joy and laughter. Sarah's sacrifice had not only broken the curse but had also inspired the townsfolk to embrace a future unshackled from their dark past. In the aftermath of the Shadowkeeper's banishment, the townsfolk came together to restore the old church. They wanted to transform it from a place of fear and darkness into a memorial for Sarah Miller, the brave journalist who had saved them all. A statue of her, holding a lantern aloft, was erected in the town square as a symbol of light and truth. Despite the town's outward serenity, a part of Sarah's spirit lingered in the hollow. On moonlit nights, some claimed to see a faint figure wandering among the trees, a lantern in hand. It was said that Sarah continued to watch over Bankstown, ensuring that the darkness never returned. Legends grew around her memory. Children told stories of the brave journalist who had faced the Shadowkeeper, and visitors to the town were often regaled with tales of her courage. Sarah's legacy became an integral part of Bankstown's identity, a reminder of the power of truth and sacrifice. Years later, a young journalist named Emma Harper arrived in Bankstown, intrigued by the legend of Sarah Miller. The town, now vibrant and welcoming, embraced her curiosity. The townsfolk shared their stories, and Emma found herself drawn to the old church in the hollow. One night, guided by an inexplicable force, Emma ventured into the hollow. The fog parted before her, and the whispering trees seemed to guide her steps. At the church, she felt a presence, gentle, reassuring. Sarah's spirit, she realized, still watched over the town. Determined to honor Sarah's legacy, Emma wrote a comprehensive article detailing Bankstown's history and the courageous sacrifice that had saved it. Her story captivated readers worldwide, and people flocked to the town to witness the place where a single act of bravery had triumphed over ancient evil. Bankstown continued to thrive, its dark past a distant memory. The town, once shrouded in secrecy and fear, had transformed into a beacon of hope and resilience. And in the heart of the hollow, where shadows once whispered, there now stood a monument to the journalist who had dared to uncover the truth and, in doing so, had saved them all. In the end, Bankstown was no longer just a charming small town. It was a testament to the enduring power of courage, sacrifice, and the unyielding quest for truth. And as long as the statue of Sarah Miller stood in the town square, her story would never be forgotten.
Dear viewers, if you like to watch the scariest horror stories, do subscribe, like and share our channel. Thank you.